Brought to you by Penguin.
Elegy for a River, written and read by Tom Moorhouse. In memory of Rob Strachan, the original and finest Volemeister. 1. A Wild Hope. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. John Lennon. Imagine. I spent years trying to avoid that "so what do you do" conversation. It always turned a bit awkward. I go out and study water voles in the wild, I'd say, trying to conserve them. Which usually prompted confusion. What, waterfalls? No, I'd smile. Water voles, cute endangered rat-type animals. Oh, a moment's thought. Why? I got that a lot, and there are very few explanations that don't sound evangelical. The other common response was, "Oh wow, that's great, it must be lovely being outside all day rather than stuck in an office. I'd give anything to do that. You're so lucky." And I know I should have just agreed and moved on, but I could never manage it. I'd settle for something like, "Yeah, sure, but there are drawbacks. I mean, it does rain a lot." And in return, I got a look that said I'm an ingrate. But what I really wanted to say was, yes, of course you're right. It's wonderful. I get to spend all day with wildlife doing what I always dreamed of. How amazing is that? But look, it also means I've dedicated my life to the service of fieldwork. And fieldwork is a goddess with a mean streak and a sense of humour. In lieu of blood sacrifices, of which she receives plenty thanks to her unparalleled potential for causing minor personal injury, she'll also happily accept a researcher, head bowed to clenched fists, muttering a prayer of "why am I doing this?" At some point in every fledgling ecologist's career, they discover the nature of the deal they've struck, by which time it's far too late. In my case, I'm only proud that it took her so long to nail me. But then, fieldwork has patience, and she starts gently. She lures you first with beauty and intrigue. She snagged me, aged 20, when I spent my summer as part of a team surveying river vegetation. This meant getting dressed up in fetching yellow and black dry suits and wading down predetermined lengths of the River Swale in the northeast of England. The upland sections were distant, bleak and beautiful. The river there was all peat-brown rapids and rocks, with clinging trails of river mosses and enclaves of liverworts. We needed guidebooks and microscopes to identify some of the tinier, more obscure plants. It was hard work. But then work also meant jumping into upland pools, eating lunch by waterfalls, finding the picked clean remains of an otter's dinner strewn across a flat boulder, or catching a cobalt flash as a kingfisher zipped by. In the lowlands, the river became deep, winding and serene. Here, plants clustered in dense stands and were more easily identified. We ticked off species from a list on a clipboard as we went. And in the lower reaches, we could float on our backs, buoyed by our inflatable chests. Which I should probably explain. The river squeezed air up out of the dry suit legs, handily turning the arms and chest into a giant flotation device. Bobbing along, we each looked like a cross between a duck, a bee, and half a Michelin man. It's normally safe enough to float in dry suits, in which you can avoid the reverse process that often befalls those who opt for chest waders. More than one chest-waded researcher has been swept downstream, dangling from a pair of inflatable feet. Borne through dark waters on a stately current, we gazed up at a towering canopy of trees. We drifted in peace. Right up until when the rubber neck seal on my dry suit ruptured midstream. Air hissed out and river poured in. My boots filled with water and I started to sink. Far from the bank and out of my depth, I did what anyone would. I panicked. I flailed, paddled, shouted, struggled, whimpered, and scrambled my way to the shore. I crawled out, peeled off the dry suit, and spent the remaining day in soaked-through clothes. Not fun, but one of those things. Good attempt, fieldwork. On the intrigue side, fieldwork can...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?